Alright, we'll slowly get started as people are slowly rolling in. Alright, so this lecture we're gonna dive more into architecture patterns, and specifically we're gonna go over MVC, which stands for Model View Controller, and also navigation and delegation. Delegation may be a foreign concept to most of you, but don't worry, it's not as scary as it sounds. So yeah. So first announcements. A1 is now due Friday, due to a lot of new enrollments. And also you're given a total of 4 free slip days throughout all of the assignments. So please use it wisely. But these don't apply for the hack challenge, just so you guys know. And if you have any issues with Xcode or joined the class late, can give you an extension. Please let us know. Just make an ad post or reach out to us after class. Fill out the assignment survey to receive 1 free point. It's very short and quick. And A2 will be released tomorrow, sometime tomorrow, and is going to be due Thursday, October 30th. So you'll have a week to complete it. And also just a side note, if you join or make sure like in Student Center you're enrolled for at most 2 credits, and that your grading basis is pass fail and not letter grade. And since today's like the last chance to do it, if you haven't done so already or you're not sure, please stay after class and then we can help you out. So yeah, so quick little recap. Last lecture we went through how to create views that contain properties that we can modify, and remember, views are classes, so objects are just going to be instances of those classes. So yeah, like remember we made a UI label, and then if you want to change the color of it, do label.color, and then we also went through layouts, and adding the view or adding the label into like the main view. So yeah, now we'll go into the software design pattern, and the definition of it. It's a software design pattern is a set of rules that govern the architecture that we follow when writing our code. So it's nothing like concrete that we must follow, but it's recommended to follow. And it works well, which is why we use it. And it's going to be like a general repeatable solution in software. So yeah, and specifically model view controller. Here's a neat little diagram of it. So going back to the last lecture, we only showed you how to create views with hard-coded data. So we made a label and assigned it with the text like my name, Asen. But iOS applications are very complex and require us to store data that can be used throughout the entire app. So when we create apps, we want our views to respond and update to user interaction. So that is, we need to allow views to be able to modify the data as well as update itself if these data change. So we can't hard code everything. So model view controller does exactly that. It's a pattern to allow for state management. So here we see model are like the data structures you use. It's like kind of like the language for how data is transmitted throughout views. So the controller contains all the logic, and is basically a mediator between the model and the view. So and the view is just just raw UI. It's just displaying based on the data it's given, and also its behavior is determined by the view controller. So think of maybe kind of like a TV. So model is like the TV channels. They're where the actual shows and data live. So like cartoons, movies. View is the TV screen. It shows like what's on right now. And the controller is, the remote controller. So you can tell the TV what to do, like change the channel, change the data, like the volume and stuff. Yeah. So a model is going to be the object that represents our application's data. Remember, it's like the language that our app speaks, basically. We'll typically use structs when we're defining our data models, so they're different from classes. We'll go over that right now. So classes versus structs. Structs are value types, and classes are reference types. So if you took like an intro CS class, maybe you've heard of what that is. So classes, like I showed last time, supports inheritance. Subclasses don't need to be redefined. Sometimes we don't need all the properties or methods inherited. That's when we use structs, because they're much simpler and faster. They're also, as a consequence of being simpler, they're memory efficient. So yeah, so here we have a struct called user with a property name, which is string. And when we initialize it, it's like pretty much the exact same as a class. And here we see like a diagram. So this user one variable points to this, or not, it doesn't point, but it has value of this, right? And then if you want to access, you access it by doing .name, very similar to classes. But when you reassign it, what you're going to notice is it creates an entirely new instance. It doesn't actually change this. It just makes a new user struct and just discards the old one. So here you're going to see another thing where if we have another variable called user2 and we set it to user1, then of course it's going to make another new one. It might seem non-intuitive how this is like saving us memory and is like faster, but because they're much simpler than classes, there's less overhead, so it actually ends up being a lot quicker. So in here we have pretty much the same code, but instead of making user a struct, we make it a class. And we see when we set the name to Richie, it doesn't make like a new instance. It just changes the one that it's pointing to. And similarly, if you have make a user2 and set that equal to user1, it's going to point to the same object. So when you call user2.name, can anyone take a guess what you might get? Like after running everything here. So you call user2.name, you print it, what would you see? Yeah, you'll see Richie, correct. And if this was a struct, you'd still see Richie. So views are the visible components that are used to build the UI. This includes buttons, labels, images, and etc. So in Eatery, as an example, everything we see is a view. So the name of the dining hall is like a UI label containing information about the dining hall model. Controllers establish a connection between the models and views. It's kind of redundant information, but yeah. And so now we'll head on to navigation. And I'll have Jay take over for this one.
Okay, so far we only worked with one screen, but a big part of functionality and of any application is the ability to navigate multiple screens. And there are two main ways to do that. One is pushing and popping, and the other one is presenting and dismissing. But in this course, we'll only teach you how to do pushing and popping, but we'll still go over what presenting and dismissing is. If you look at this demo, everybody used Spotify, right? Yeah, so when you click on that little button or the little tab at the bottom for the current song that is playing, it kind of presents you a slide up screen. That is when you're presenting. And when you swipe down with your fingers and you dismiss that, that is dismissing. Now going to pushing and popping. This will be done through something we call the navigation stack, and you can simply think of it as a stack. When you push into a stack, does anyone know what stack is or not know what stack is? Or can someone explain what stack is? Yeah, you.
You can sort of visualize it as like a stack of plates. So when you put something on, you put something on the top, and when you pop, you also take it right off the top. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So same for applications. When you push a view onto the stack, you're stacking each view on top of each other. But then when you pop the screens out of the navigation stack, you can only pop from the most top top position of the stack one at a time. So that's pushing and stacking for applications. And now let's go into demo. First, let's clone the repository and go on the website and then go to lecture 3, copy this line of code, and then go into terminal. You want to go into the folder that you want to save the repository in. So for me, it's course demo. So CD, I just drag the folder in there, enter. And then I'm going to paste what I copy from the course website. Okay. Now it's in here. Open it. And then click this Xcode project. It's going to open the Xcode. So we have set up a view controller 1 and view controller 2. You can think of view controller 1 as the parent and view controller 2 as the child view for this demo. So let's run it and see what it has right now. Okay, I think it's first time opening the simulator, so it's gonna take a little time. While it loads, like as you can see in view controller 1, we have set up the push button, and it's a UI button. It's like the view features that you put in the main view. And we also have set up the text label. It just shows the text, and what shows in the text is this text string that we have. So we store the text string into text label.text. So you can see right here it says change me, and this is we manually set it to change me. And right now I click the button and nothing happens because we haven't implemented the functions for pushing and popping yet. So let's implement the function for pushing. So simply just do let view controller 2, I'm gonna call it VC2, equals to view controller 2, and then we'll call navigation controller. I typed something wrong. Navigation controller question mark. The reason I have question mark because it's optional. It can be a nil value. So this is a type safety thing that you have to do in UIKit. Dot push view controller, and then we send in VC2 and make animated true so that it shows us the animation when we push it. It's just like a sliding function, sliding type of animation. Oh, true is lowercase. All right. Navigation controller and push view controller are actually built in, so if you want to know details about it, just press command and click on it. And it's gonna show you some very complicated stuff that you don't want to read. Okay, what's wrong with this? Oh, there's an extra A in here. All right, now if I run it again, we should be able to press the push VC button. Okay, see. And naturally, in default, it comes with a back button, which you can. It also does the pop function, but for the purpose of learning, we want to learn how to implement pop into a button. So right now, as you can see, I can't click on this because we haven't implemented the pop. To do this, simply we go to our view controller 2. It's our child view, and we have set up the function right here, and we just have to add this line of code, navigation controller, same as last one, optional dot pop view controller, And since when we pop, we're not pushing anything, so we don't have to send in a view controller object. So it just popped from the top of the stack, as we talked about how stack is how the navigation stack is literally just a stack. So we just have to indicate if we want to animate it or not. Oh, it's lowercase. I keep forgetting. I've been coding in Python too much. So now when we rerun this simulator, we can use both the push and the pop button. Here we press push, and then here we press pop. It's just gonna pop. Okay, so in the next demo, we're gonna show you how to, you see the placeholder value over here? We want to edit the placeholder, and then when we pop it, the value here is gonna change. And we're gonna do this through delegation. Okay, go back to the slide. All right. So delegation, it allows the child view controller to communicate with his parent. And typically we use protocol to do this. There's 3 terminologies that you have to know for a delegation. One is protocol. Second is the delegator, and the third is the delegate. So usually the child view is the delegator. They're delegating a task to the parent, which the parent is the delegate. And the protocol is like a contract that you send to the delegate. So the delegator will send the protocol to delegate for it to perform the task. So think about a real life analogy. Imagine at a bar, you have a bartender, and a menu with all the drinks. So the customer in this case is the delegator, and the delegator, which is the customer, will ask the bartender, who is the delegate, to perform the task. And you can think of a menu as the shared language between the delegate and the delegator that allows them to communicate. We cover what protocol is. And this is the dummy code for protocol. Usually you just have to fill in these 3 sections of code and place it into either the view controller 1 or view controller 2, depending on the nature of these functions. Okay, now let's go into demo. Okay. So from the last demo, we see that there's a text label that says change me, and when we push the view controller, it has a placeholder value. We want to sync these two, and to sync these two, we're gonna first go into view controller 1. When it push, we want to send in the text that it currently hold. Let VC2 equals to view controller 2 text that is type text. And then we want to go into view controller 2. Right now there's an error because view controller 2 doesn't have any property that can store text. So we want to go in and set up the property. This part, in this section, we're gonna store the data. So private let private var text string. And from the last lecture, we mentioned that you want to have an initializer. So init text string. This text is a type string, and then in this initializer, you're gonna initialize the text to the text that the property currently the class currently has, and you want to initialize it to the text that the parent is sending it. So text equals to text. And remember what's the next thing that we have to add? So we always have to initialize the parent. So super dot init init name nil bundle nil, and then it's still gonna throw an error at us because it wants us to have this block of code require init because it just requires init. It's more like a safety thing. And then next, we're gonna change this placeholder into the text value that it received from the parent. So now if we rerun the simulator, we should see the change. So if we push, we can see that it has changed. Now we want to set up the protocol so that we can click on change me right here, and we can change the text. And because right now if we change the text and we okay, that's weird, we pop it, nothing changes over here. So to do that, we'll set up the protocol, and then we'll conform the parent view controller to the protocol, and then have the delegator delegate with the task. Okay, now going back to view controller 1, we're gonna set up the protocol. Let's call it update text delegate. It's a type of any object, and it has to conform to this function update text. It's going to be a new text and type string. Okay. Now we're going to go back to VC2 to set up this property protocol, private weak var update text delegate. And it's a nil, it's a optional because it can also hold nil values in some cases. So, and in regards to this weak variable, so the weak variable it just means that it's a weak keyword. It just means that it's a weak reference to the object. So it does not keep the object alive in memory. So it's not gonna cause more memory overhead and stuff like that. And next, we're gonna update our initializing function. Self dot for the purpose of easier to read, let's call it delegate. Self dot delegate equals to. It can't equal to anything because we haven't updated the function header, the function signature with delegate. So delegate is a type of update text delegate, and self.delegate equals to delegate. All right, now we have set up VC2 to be able to send tasks to the delegate. We can now write the code for it to send the task. So in this pop VC, we're gonna add this line of code, delegate optional dot update text new text equals to text field dot text. And sometimes this text field can contain nil values, so we want to type check it, unwrap it, and this double question mark says if it's a nil, then just send empty string. All right, and then Lastly, we just have to go into view controller and have it conform to the delegate. Oops, there's an error. Missing argument. So can anybody tell me what's the error right here? How do we fix that? I'll give you a hint. Like, what do we just set up in the class VC2? Yes. Yeah, perfect. Yep. So in right here, we want to add the delegate and then update text delegate, because right now VC2 expect to receive text and also expect to receive a delegate. So it's a self. So right here we're letting VC2 know that the delegate is VC1 himself. So there's another error. This error means that it says that does not conform to the expected type update text delegate. That's because we haven't conformed our VC1 to this protocol yet. So we're gonna do that right now. Extension view controller 1. We're using extension because we're adding an extension function. Update text delegate.
Just to kind of add on to that, we also use extensions to like separate certain blocks of codes. So since we want to contain all the delegate code in here, we create an extension so it's separate from our main view controller.
Yep. Thank you.
It's a lot more readable.
Right. So now we have set up the function block, and within this block we want to update the text. So we want to first update the data, which is text equals to new text. This does not actually change what's showing right here. It's just changing the data that is stored in. So what changes it is the text label, because this is a text label view. So we're gonna set text label dot text equals to text. So now let's rerun this simulator. Okay, we can push the view and then click on change me.
Oh, okay.
Hi. Okay. Oh, why is it doing that? Okay. All right, let's do hi Applebee's, and we pop it. It's gonna reflect on the parent view. All right, and that concludes our demo for delegation. Does anyone have any question? Yeah.
Could you just show the constructor or the initializer for the second view controller?
Initializer for yes. View controller 2. Here. This like delegation is usually like the most confusing part of the entire course. So it's okay if you like don't fully understand it right now. Feel free to utilize ed and come to office hours, and we can like break down to you more. Oh, screen. I think. Okay. What, are you good, Amy? Okay. All right. We're gonna move on. We're pretty much done with the lecture. I think next up is attendance. Yeah. Wait, how does this work?
I think this is the wrong link.
Oh, is it?
Because that's SP25.
Oh.
Oh wait, did you just copy it?
Hmm.
Actually, it's fine. You can use the same one.
All right.
I didn't change anything. So it's fine.
Hey guys, use your net ID. Oh, so on the course website, I can show you the course website right now. Since we're early on time, let's demo the course website. So it's iOS. Oh, it's not. Okay, let me go on another tab. It's ios-course.cornellappdev.com, where you can also just search up Cornell App Dev iOS course textbook, something like that. It should be the first one. So in the course website, hopefully you guys all did the did the task list for getting started, and also in logistics, lecture 1. But yeah, office hours are listed here. It's in logistics and office hours. Oh,
Yeah, wait. Also, as you guys might have saw on Ed, this week all office hours are virtual. But starting next week, we're gonna have specific locations on campus. You can like rooms you can go to, except for Monday, which will still be virtual since the registrar is still Mondays. So next week, Monday's virtual, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is in person. And I'll reflect this after lecture.
yeah, and we also we successfully got the rooms for our office hours, so we'll also update the location with the real room number. And yeah, so for assignments, you just have to click on this and you can see the assignments that are published here, and lectures, and also for logistics. And some very useful resources is like in this section, or the textbook includes topics that we cover in this course, and also includes topics that we don't have time to cover, but it can be very interesting. And also, if you haven't taken that much CS courses before or lacking some Swift foundations, this textbook right here basically talks about all the stuff that you need to know for this course, and even outside of the scope of the course. All right, let's go back to Kahoot. Is everyone in? Okay. All right, we're gonna start in 5, 4, 1. Okay, start. I'm gonna start. Right. Okay. Oh, what the heck? Oh, where's this brain? How many free slip days are you giving? Wait, can I? Oh, okay.
You just highlighted.
Wait, I didn't mean. I was like, I was wondering if I was able to choose as well, because it lets me.
Alright, can't. So yeah, you have 4 slip days for all assignments. Remember, it doesn't count towards the hack challenge. So
Yeah.
that you'll have to be on time.
Yeah, and right here it talks about the grading policy. I think it's 10% off, if I remember correctly. If you guys are out of slip days, for each day, it's 10% off. Yep. After free slip days have been used, there will be 10% deduction from the assignment's grade per day, and it's maximum of 2 days, and we don't accept any late work afterwards. But if you have like serious circumstances, you can always reach out and we can make accommodations. Ally 32, let's go. What does MVC stand for?
These are too easy.
Yeah, I gotta spice it up a little bit. Dang, okay. Now who's that one, bro? Okay, clue 6. We use UI navigation stack to push pop views, true or false. Dang.
It's
We're doing
tricky.
good. Okay.
It's actually not stack. I believe it's UI navigation controller. It's a trick question.
Oh, the blue was wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Ali's taking the crown again. All right. The protocol is the menu and the bar analogy. Okay. Yeah, so remember in the bar analogy, we have delegator, we have delegate, and the protocol. So protocol is the menu, delegator is the customers because you are delegating the task to the bartender, which is the delegate. All right. Good job, Clue. Wait, is there no number 4 and number 5 this time?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
We're sorry for the 4th and 5th place. You
Yeah.
won't get featured this
You
time.
don't get recognized this time.